Hello, everybody. Okay, this is my third take because I keep screwing up, and Suri keeps listening in on the conversation and trying to do things with my iPad while I record. So I'm going to show you guys this first. This is from the California website for the Department of Labor Standards Enforcement. So you can see Department of Labor Standards Enforcement to .gov. So you can see this is from the state. Now, on-call pay in California. This is what on-call pay says for California. Now, don't get me wrong. Occupationally, there is specified occupations. They do have different orders. This I'm going to talk about mainly is for drivers, like myself. Now, for the concept of this, I'm going to let you know. We're going to use me as an example. My job right now is I log on at 6 a.m. and I log off at 6 p.m. I can stay on longer than 6 p.m. if I have a trip that's taking me longer than 6 p.m. If no trip keeping me longer than 6 p.m., I log off at 6 p.m., meaning a 12-hour day. An employer is obligated to pay the wages of an hourly employee. So if your salary, sorry? I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. It doesn't protect salary employees. For all the time the employee is under the control of the employer. Under the control. Meaning, many different things, which we're going to get into in a bit. They are here. But most in control, your boss is in control of you. And includes all the time the employee has suffered to work. Yeah. Suffered. Or permitted to work, whether or not required to do so. It always makes me wonder whether or not you're required to do so. So whether or not you're required to be at work or not be at work, you have to be paid. Pretty much. In the Industrial Welfare Commission orders number 4 and number 5, there is a modified definition of hours worked for specified occupations. Okay? So, it can vary occupationally. But, let's dive into this a bit more. Let's see what this really means for California. Because a lot of companies are, federal law is more stricter than a state-specific law, so we're going to go by the federal law. But California has a pretty strict law, so you have to go by what's stricter. And your company could say, well, we're going to avoid that. But legally, they can't avoid it. Now, they could say, well, Your Honor, it's the federal law is stricter than this law, and this is why we've gone by this law. It's not that we're ignoring this law. It's the fact that this law is not strict enough, and we don't, by basis, have it to follow it. Let's go to California versus federal. We'll do that late, and maybe in a third video. On-call or standby time at a worksite is considered hours work for which an employee must be compensated, even if the employee does nothing but wait for something to happen. Meaning, if I get called to work, they say, hey, just sit here all day long for 12 hours. Just wait for us to call you. I can sit here, watch videos, anything. Same thing I'm doing here at home, pretty much. And they have to pay me. Now, this next statement is what it says in this document. This is not me saying. This is the document. So please, no mad. An employer, if he chooses, may hire a man to do nothing but wait for something, to do nothing but wait for something to happen. Refraining from other activities is often a factor in instant readiness to serve. And idleness plays a part in the employment in standby capacity. There's a case, Armour and Company versus Wantock, 1944. Examples of compensated working time include, but are not limited to, meal periods, sleep period during which the employee is subject to the employer's control. So yes, you could be at home asleep, but you're still subject to, if they call, I got to pick up. They say you have to be there in an hour. I got to be there in an hour. It means I got to wake up, get dressed, run out the door, and be there in an hour. I'm still in their control because they may impose things. Now, whether on-call or standby time off the work is considered compensated must be determined by looking at the restrictions placed on an employee. This is the big part. This is the big part of the law. You have to look at the restrictions based on your employees. A variety of factors are considered in determining whether the employer imposed restrictions turn the on-call time, which could be non-pay, to compensate them, meaning they have to hours work, meaning they have to pay you for it. These factors set out in a federal case, Berry versus the County of Sonoma, 1994, includes whether there's excessive geographical restrictions on the employee's movements, meaning any employer who has a set geographic thing. For my company I work for is 24 miles. Meaning there's a circle, a 24-mile circle from the dot of where I have to respond to. Okay? 24 miles all around it. That's where I can go. I can only be in that 24-mile circle. I is the center. I can only be within 24 miles. If I go outside that 24 miles, technically speaking, I am violating company policy, even if I'm on my own time. Well, you're waiting for a call, so you need to be. And if I'm in that 24 miles, but I'm outside the ability to receive a phone call, say, because I have to have my phone. That means I'm breaking again. So, geographical. If any one of these automatically gets you on-call pay. So, I can't go more than 24 miles. Say I wanted to go visit my mom. And I said this in the last video. My mom is 55 miles away. Her gravesite is 55 miles away from where I am. Today alone, let's see here. Let's be fair. 7 hours, almost 8. Almost 8 hours have been on the board. Okay? No calls. I could have this morning driven out 55 miles, about an hour, 15 minutes, saw my mom, and came back. Spent, say, 4 hours out altogether. But I wouldn't have known in that time if I was going to get a call. And I was outside the 24-mile range. Not allowable. Now, whether the frequencies of the next part is whether the frequencies of calls is unduly restrictive. Okay, meaning, are you going to get random calls? Is it going to be like the telemarketer? Hi, we're calling to talk about your car's extended warranty. I love playing with them when they do that. Oh, my car's extended warranty? My car's 21 years old with 215,000 miles on it. You want to warranty it? Because I'll warranty it. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Your car's too old for a warranty. Yeah, I thought so. Click. If you don't know when they're going to call you. I've been doing my job for quite a few years. And I can tell you the one thing is you never know. You can, generally speaking, there's calls between this time, this time, this time, this time, this time. But it's always changing. So you never know when you're going to get a call. So because of that, I can't plan anything. Can't plan days. Can't plan things because you never know when the call is going to come. Whether a fixed time limit for response is unduly restrictive. Now, as I talked in the last, generally speaking, 2 to 3 hours. In California, it says 2 hours. If you have to respond in less than 2 hours in California to work, then you are in that employer's control at all times that you are available to be called. So for me, marked up on the board. If they call me and say, hey, I need you at a trip in 3 hours, then yes, technically speaking, they beat the 2 hour mark. But that's a very rare instance. So, generally speaking, you're 1 hour, maybe an hour and a half until you have to be at work for my company So, very much in their control. Whether the on-call employees can easily trade his or her on-call responsibilities with another employee. Meaning, now this is trade your on-call responsibilities. Meaning, for me, I'm on call. I don't know. Look, I traded with such and such. They're taking this. They're going to take my trips. No. Because if I decline a trip, it goes to the next person down on the board. And then I'll get in trouble for not taking a trip that was called for me. It's not that I'm, it's passing the buck. You were hired to do this. You take the trip during your time. Now, there is obviously rules around that. Like, if you're within the last hour that you're on the board, due to my restrictions, I'm not on the board 24 hours a day, 5 days a week like my fellow coworkers. But that's medical restrictions. And they all understand that, the ones that know. For me, if they call me at 5, I'm not taking the trip. If they call me at like 5, 5:20 and say, hey, here's a trip at 6:27, I'm not taking that trip. I'm supposed to log off by, unless I'm already on a trip, I'm supposed to log off by 6. I'm not taking that trip to be out all night long till 1 in the morning when I've been up since 6 in the morning. Get home, go sleep for 5 hours and get called back out? Not a chance. 8 hours rest? Yeah. So, no. Then you can, generally for the other drivers, if they're within 30 minutes of their logging off for their weekend, they can ignore the calls. An hour to a half hour, they can ignore. And this is the last part, is whether and to what extent the employee engages in personal activities during on-call periods. Whether and to what extent personal activities. With my job, very hard to go grocery shopping, go to the movies. I cannot. The extent is I can go out to lunch with my friends. I said this in the last video. I can go out to lunch with my friends. Go out to Buffalo Wild Wings. We can watch the game. I cannot have that beer that I want to have. If they say, hey, at 7 o'clock we're going out to Buffalo Wild Wings, and I know I'm off at 6, and I'm like, hey, okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to be off by 7 tonight. I'll see you there. It's, say it's 5 p.m. I'm like, yeah, I'll see you guys there. Okay, fine. Because for me, I don't log back in until 6 a.m. the next day. So I can drink pretty much between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. 10 p.m. I cannot drink past because 8 hours have to go past my last drink before I can drive. So I can't go to lunch and have a drink. Now, due to my medical restrictions, injury, I had medications. I'm using myself as an example. I told the company, hey, look, I need to take these medications. Doctor prescribed them as needed. So there's going to be days when I'm in extreme pain. I'm going to not be on the board because I'm taking these medications and I can't drive within 8 hours of taking these medications. Sorry, that is bugging me. So, they're just letting you know there will be days I'm not on the board, that I'm supposed to be on the board because of taking this medication during the day. Just letting you know. The next day, they called the doctor. And actually, it wasn't even the next day. It was because I told them, I believe, on a Friday. And they went on the Monday and talked to the doctor. Mind you, I was on and told the doctor that I was feeling extremely tired. And I forget the medical term they used about the medication. And the doctor changed me to taking the medication only at night so it didn't interfere with my driving abilities. The company changed me from personal, I should have been able to take that medication as needed. The company changed that. Now, by all this, if you have any of these, if you can logically, let's be honest, let's be fair with everybody, logically, okay, I don't know, just look here, try and keep looking at that, logically speak, on this. Look, logically speaking, if my friend who's an accountant, my friend who's a chef can go out on their lunch break and have a beer and do this, this, and this, why can't I? Okay, I'm a driver. I get that. But if it's my own personal time and you're restricting that, then I'm in your control. Be logical on when you're looking at this. See your employer's side. Your employer wants you to do this, this, and this. But then remember the law side. If you're restricted at any point, mileage and response time, you have that. Now, your travel time is considered compensatable, sorry, I'm tired, worked hours when the employer requires the employee to meet at the designated place or use the employer's designated transportation to and from the work site. Now, for me, that means when I get a call, I have to get in my car, go to work, grab a company vehicle, and then do my transport work. Okay? So, that means the 30, 45 minutes it takes me to get to work, I should be getting paid also. Technically speaking, if your employer says, look, you have to go to work to get your company vehicle, look, I'm giving you an hour to be where you have to be, go to work. I gotta go to work, get my vehicle, and then head over to these places. Your time to get the vehicle to where to go is compensatable also. But if you're, at the same time on call, you're in their control. They're constricting you on any number of things. You could say, well, look, I wanted to go grocery shopping, but they called me. My employer told me, hey, I need to be resting while waiting on call. Okay. Any of these things that they put are violations of your time, which then means that they owe you. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to comment them below. Excuse me. I will I will try to respond to everybody the best I can and give the best advice. And again, if there's any lawyers who watch this, please put your input. I would love to know your input. Thank you. Bye.